Hey, good afternoon, Eagle fans, and welcome out to Brocato's on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. And thank the crowd that has made it in here tonight and the live audience, as always. Wonderful group that's made it in, and we appreciate you folks in there at home watching. It is Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks, and I am your host, Doug Gann, on 446 Sports, and we are delighted to bring you this. We're recapping the last couple of weeks' action for the Lady Eagles. Baseball will be around at the bottom of the hour, and they'll do the same thing for baseball. But let's kick things off now and welcome in head coach Brad Turney. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. It's always fun to be here. Love doing this stuff.
This is a good time to say the least. Look, yesterday, we'll start with yesterday, then we'll pop in and look at that. It was kind of a tale of two games that were on there. You played your round robin that you always play this time of the year. It came out to a slow start and ended up getting beaten the first game, but rallied around and came back in the second. So let's talk about those.
Well, we really did, and I kind of talked to the girls after the game. They just kind of showed up, and we always do a breakfast for our round robin, and I think I might cut that out because we always play bad in that first game after we get breakfast. But
maybe it's the breakfast. Who was cooking the breakfast?
No, we're not. I'm not throwing them under the bus because the breakfast itself was great. I mean, we switched that up last year. We had chocolate chip pancakes. He didn't do chocolate chip pancakes again because he thought that was the jinx, and maybe it's just
might just be the breakfast.
They're too full before they go out and play. But no, they didn't show up as well as I thought they should have, and we lost a game that I think we really should have had right there against Marksville. I mean, taking nothing away from them, they played great, but I feel that we didn't put our best foot forward there.
Yeah, and getting out to a slow start, I think, was the cause of it, or they jumped out to a quick start, of course, on it. But, you turn around in the second game after that intermission because Marksville and Oak Hill played after that. Oak Hill took care of Marksville in that second game. And you saw that fatigue was starting to set in on Marksville. I mean, that sun that was out was bright and it was hot. And, of course, it had a lot of impact on what we did electronically, but I know it took their toll on them, too.
I'm sure it did. I mean, playing back-to-back games like that's always tough. So, and both of them had to deal with it. You had Marksville that played the first and the second game, and then Oak Hill was out there for the majority of the sun in the second and the third game. So, I was really surprised how we came out against against Oak Hill, especially watching the way they played against Marksville. I was expecting a little more for them from the top, but like you said, they looked a little bit tired. But we came out in the bottom of the first, and we put a run on the board, and they just chipped away, and the lineup started to come back to life, and you could see that.
Look, that first run, because in the first game it was the same way. I think the first run got scored in, the fifth or sixth inning of that game one. And you saw a little bit of a difference in the girls at that point too, and it scored 4 runs before it was over with.
Yeah, it really did, and but like I told them, I mean, you can't turn it on late. It's not a switch that you can turn on at the end of the ball game when you're like, you wake up and you finally realize that you're down by a few runs and the game's getting down to the end. Yeah. You can't just flip the switch and turn it on like that. Told them you got to have it on as soon as you get to the ballpark, and I challenged them to have it on from the time they got to the dugout in the second game, and they did. And they played from the first pitch to the last pitch, and I think that was one of the first real complete ball games we've played all year against when we went against Oak Hill. And that was an Oak Hill team that behind Levy Garcia had won the first one. They had a couple of home runs in that game earlier, but Kaylee came in and pretty much shut things down in game 2. She did. I feel she didn't pitch her best in game 1. And really, after 130 pitches, I was expecting it to be a short outing, but she got in her groove. And I talked to her a couple times. I'm like, "Are you tired? You ready?" She's like, "I'm a little worn out, but I'm good." And she looked. If you watch her, she got stronger as that game went on too. Well, she swung the bat pretty well in that game too. She did, and I think that kind of helped her out too to stay out there. I mean, she went. I think she got 2 for 3 that game with a double off the wall. I think she went 3 for 3 that game. Double off the wall could have been 2 home runs, but she hit that last one. She hit that one a mile. Look, with the yellow balls that y'all use in softball, I'm lobbying to get the color of that thing that goes around the top of the fence changed to a different color, because we saw a game, it may have been the game up there at Calvary, but the yellow ball hitting that yellow line, you don't know. I mean, there was a question, is foul or fair or whatever it is, and I don't know. That's one, it's difficult on the officials, on anybody to see if that yellow hits the yellow. It really is. I mean, but especially in that one, like you said, against Calvary, that girl hit that ball down the line. It was hooking. It was just probably 6 inches foul right on that cap, and it was hard to see where it actually hit. But. That's right. And you're 200
200 feet away from it on there too.
And that ball was hit hard, so it happened quick.
You go back to let's go back a little ways, and you and I have had this conversation. Matter of fact, you sent me some post game celebrating that was going on too. You guys flipped the switch in the middle of that Bunkie game. You'd had a couple of games that had not went the way that you wanted it to. The Tioga game, the Oakdale game, of course, it was there. You had lost 3 in a row going back to Ouachita. But the Bunkie game came, and you switched things around, came back, won that game 8-6, and pulled off 3 in a row.
Yeah, they showed up and showed out in the Bunkie game. I was proud of them for that. But that was another one that, it was right after that Oakdale game. I'm like, if you show up the way you showed up against Oakdale, another one that I feel like we should have taken. But when you don't show up, you don't get rewarded for it. So I told them that Bunkie's better than this, so if you show up like this, it's going to be a quick ball game. It's going to be 3 innings, and we'll be coming home with our tail between our legs. But they really showed up that game. They played hard. Kaylee threw well. The defense played well behind her, other than that first inning, because we showed up in that first inning, and I think we made 4 errors and gave up 3 unearned. It was like, okay, here we go again. And they came off the field, and I told them something I probably can't say on the air, but it kind of made them chuckle a little bit, but they kind of loosened up after that, and that's what I told them. I was
See, they were fired up about it too. That's
but they're playing like they're on eggshells right now, and I told them, I was like, you've got to give yourself permission to make mistakes.
Right.
When you do that, you'll loosen up, because everybody's right now, they're playing not to make mistakes, and anytime you do that, typically you end up making the mistakes.
And, and I'll say, look, when we've seen sometimes in warm-ups that just had that glossy look, not as that focus that wasn't there on that trip. But in this division, just getting now you're playing for seeding, really is what you're playing for on it too, to give yourself an opportunity at a home game. And things are bunched up in there too, so you've got an opportunity to make some big strides. You've got a lot of big ball games coming up down the stretch. Of course, this starts off with Sterlington tomorrow night, and we'll talk some more about that in just a little bit. But you've got time and opponents that you can make a run and get yourself tested and see what's going to happen down there in the playoffs.
And that's what I told them. I mean, like I said, it's still not time to hit any panic buttons. I mean, there's games that we show up and you show those flashes of brilliance, but once we get that light switch turned on, like I said, from the moment we get to the ballpark and not later in the game, I think we're going to see that turn, and we'll continue climbing that hill. So like I told them, I mean, we're not in a bad spot right now. We still got better softball to play, and that's a good thing, because we want to be playing our best once the playoffs roll around. And
that's certainly there. So you take a look, of Avoyelles going back to it in Caldwell. You won both of those games. Put up big numbers in it too. That Avoyelles game, you got going from the start and didn't look back.
No, their pitcher was, I mean, obviously not the greatest, but we actually made adjustments. I mean, usually when you got slower pitching in there, everybody's popping up. But they made good adjustments that game, and they did what they were supposed to do. They found the barrel, they scored runs, and they scored them early and often. So.
And that's what I think that you have to do. Defensively, yesterday, I don't think things were that bad. I mean, you looked around. Of course, the offensive day that I saw out of Bell, she, I think, had 3 hits in the first game. But everybody, I think, were playing pretty solid. It was one of those days in the first one.
Yeah, it really was. They just didn't have that muster in the offensive side of the first game. Like I said, they grinded through the defensive side of the ball. They didn't really play bad. Their leadoff hitter, I mean, she tore the cover off the ball.
Katie Lachine is a different, and then she, of course, the lefty throws for them too. She threw against you that way, but she's hittable. But when she's swinging the bat like she is, that makes it difficult.
It really is. I mean, we went up and in the first one. She saw some swings. I was like, okay, maybe we can beat her up and in. And I don't think she get it up quite as high as I wanted it to, and it ended up leaving the ballpark. And then the second at bat, Kelly threw a good changeup down in the zone. I thought it was a good pitch, and she went down and got that one and got it out of the ballpark. I'm like, sometimes you just got to tip your hat.
Yeah.
Throw a good pitch, and they hit it out of the ballpark, but whatever. But no, defensively, we didn't really play bad in that first game. We just didn't have that luster in the batter's box like we should. But they really did in the second, and I was really proud of them.
I look at the adjustments that have been made. Of course, you basically slide the middle infield over just a little bit as Emma moves over to shortstop and Addie went over to second base there. Of course, you bring Ledette in at first base, and so it looks like everything's kind of settling in there infield.
It is. The infield's starting to find their own. Addie's doing a lot better at second base. I mean, she still has some moments where I think she's kind of nervous because she doesn't want to make that mistake, but like I told her, if she just lets loose, she'll start to play better. Same thing with Ledette at first. I know she's had a couple tough errors in a couple of the games, but I told her, I was like, you can't worry about that stuff. Just go out there, read, react, and play the game.
My favorite defensive play of the game was a no-doubter. That was that pop-up that Parati has to turn and puts her back to Kaylee and catches that one and falls into, and Kaylee's right there to catch her. And I was like, that's teamwork. That's what I like to see.
That's what I like to see, but I was loving it on that one because one thing I've worked with Kate over the last 2 years, as soon as the ball goes up, make sure you turn around. Ball's always going to come back to the infield, and she did it good. She did it good.
You know, that's the thing that is lost about why people turn and face that way, because you've got that spin, you've got the ball coming back that way, and that's one of those things. You know, early on in life, you'd see a catcher take the mask and throw it right away, and now they're taught to hang on to it until you see where the ball's at, and then chunk it and go so you don't stumble over it. But defensively at catcher, I think she's grown fundamentally. She's just as solid as there is back there.
She really is. I mean, she's gotten really good at throwing runners at second base. I mean, she shuts a lot of running games down. She almost got the girl at Calvary that was the speedster. So, I mean, that goes to show how far she's come. Her footwork's gotten better. Her arm's gotten better. She's gotten wiser behind the plate. So she's growing as a catcher for sure.
Well, there you have it. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to some of the young ladies off the team. We'll do all of that right after this. You're watching Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks right here on 446 Sports. And we're back to Brocato's on a Sunday afternoon. It is Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks. I am Doug Gann, of course, Coach Brad Turney down on the end, and we are joined by Belle Drago and Kenzie Lyles there in the middle. And ladies, welcome.
Hey.
It wasn't really even a question, but no, that's great. Look, it's been an up and down season this year, but you certainly looked like over the last 5-6 games that you've turned that around a little bit. What are your thoughts there on how you're playing now?
I've been struggling a lot, and I think I've been putting in more work, and I just hope to continue what I've been doing in each game.
It looked like both of you have pressed a little bit at the plate and weren't as relaxed as you were. Of course, you have 3 hits in the first game yesterday. Kenzie, you had the home run, I think, in game number 2. Do you find yourselves just settling in a little bit more?
Mm-hmm.
I've created some personal goals for each at bat, and I've created plans. So I would be focused on trying to hit the outside pitch or an inside pitch, and just have a plan when I go up to bat.
Take me through that at bat and the home run too. What were you looking for?
I was looking to try to hit it to the right side because she was pitching a lot outside to me.
Right.
So I was just trying to wait on it and hit it to the right side.
There you go. And of course, getting out there and playing in the round robin out in the heat there, between the two games that you had, it just looks like you guys defensively are settling in. Early in the season, there might have been a few errors that were in there, but do you find yourself settling a little more defensively too?
I do. I think.
Keep talking. You're fine. Go.
I think that we put too much pressure on ourselves and that we just like settle in too quickly and then we don't like focus and continue playing how we always have.
Do you think the breakfast messed you up yesterday morning?
Maybe.
Maybe. See, sound good. Coach, your thoughts on these two players?
I love the fact that they're both finally starting to settle into their offensive habits. Belle, we've obviously going to need her in the lineup down the stretch, and I just know she struggled early in the season, but lately she's finally. We had a talk. She was trying to get out of the box too quick, I think, so a lot of times she was cutting her swing off. But she's doing a lot better job of staying behind her swing and finishing the swing, and she's starting to find a lot more barrels, and that's something we're going to need coming down the stretch. So that's exciting for me to see, and especially Kenzie as well. I know she was struggling early. I think she had some what we call them self-manifested expectations that nobody really had on her, and she's finally gotten over that, and like you said, she's starting to work better plans in the batter's box, and you can tell her at-bats are starting to look so much better. Like early in the year, it was like swinging in hopes that something would happen. Now it looks like she really has a plan, so she's starting to get some better hits as well. I mean, she's had, I think, like 6 doubles this last couple of weeks, plus the home run, so she's starting to find good at-bats, so I'm loving it.
And Kenzie, I'll ask you about that too. Last year it seemed like just with ease, a pitch would come in, and next thing you know, it's hitting the scoreboard or it's going somewhere else. You think at the first of the season maybe you pressed too much and had those expectations on yourself?
Yes, sir. I made a lot of goals, and I expected myself to do better than last year, but I just have to trust myself and not expect that much of me.
Look, just to play within yourself, absolutely. All right, you both were on the championship team last year, too. Of course, that's last year's team, and it's gone on there. But it does give you a mindset of what it takes to get down the stretch, because I look at the schedule, and, of course, even starting with Sterlington tomorrow night, but you've got Barb, you've got Buckeye, North Vermilion. I mean, you've got a lot of teams that are down the stretch that's going to get you ready. What do you carry from last year that you're able to bring into this last stretch and say, you know what, we've been there, done that, here's what we do?
Our mindset.
Yeah. How do you carry that? What do you carry in from last year? One word answers don't get it for me. That doesn't do it. You can't do that. No, I mean, team meetings too, because I know you got to have meetings without coach around there. You've got to do some soul searching inside the team. What are those meetings like? What are you telling each other? They must be secret meetings, Coach.
Must be, but they've pulled together a couple players only meetings, and I don't ask. You know what? That's players only for a reason. So I know they've had some soul searching talks. So that's going to help down the stretch. And I know for me, watching them and understanding that you got to play toward the end, and they're seeing that right now. It's not like I told them they're not just going to show up and get out of the way because we were state champs last year. They're still going to make us fight for it, and they see that right now, and now they're starting to play better. And as long as we're playing good down the stretch, that's going to be a good stuff once we get to the end.
All right, we're going to take it very easy. Pre-game meal or game day routine. What's your favorite thing to eat before a game?
Okay, wait. I don't have a favorite. I don't do that.
So what do you do then?
Whatever spread they show.
I didn't think that was going to be the difficult. So you don't have a routine.
No.
Softball kids are completely
so
different than baseball
so
kids because
baseball
is so superstitious.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, there's dudes that wear the same socks and they're not washing them the whole season long. But y'all don't have any. I mean, you wake up in the morning. What's your game day breakfast?
I don't eat.
You don't eat.
I don't eat.
I don't eat breakfast either, but I do drink the blue Powerade every game.
Aha! So it's not just a Powerade. You're saying it's got to be, because if somebody gives you purple or orange,
It's not going to work. It's got to be the blue.
Now we're getting somewhere. We're getting to the all right.
Yeah, they're
so
definitely not as superstitious as baseball players. That's for sure.
I've never seen. Every other sport is, and girls like, I just don't care.
No.
That's great. All right. So notwithstanding all of that, if you said, hey, this is my number one. I've got one meal I want to go get. What is that? I know you don't eat. You told me that. You've got to eat something.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. There you go. And do you have your go-to restaurant? No, you don't.
Mexican.
Okay. There you see. I'm throwing these easy, no pun intended, softball questions up to you. And what's your favorite color?
Pink.
All right, there we go, guys. That's going to wrap this segment. No, looking forward to a great finish to the season for you ladies. I know that you have it inside of you. You see each and every one of you have made that statement that we know what we need to do and we know where we need to be. And I think that you're just a step or two away from making that. So, what do you do to get ready for Sterlington tomorrow night? Dog it. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Beldrago, Kenzie Lyles, just as animate as always. We'll be back right after this. And we are back, our final segment of the softball side of it. And I don't know that we'll be able to top that last segment as informational as it was. No, as always, Beldrago and Kenzie Lyles, we appreciate you ladies for taking time to come and be on the show with us. And we've got Addie Wright that is here with us. Addie, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I love it. That's perfect. We could wrap this up right now. Coach, you and I have had a lot of talks about Addie. And give me your thoughts on her.
She has done a tremendous job in uncomfortable situations this year. At the beginning of the year, I think we had her taking ground balls over at third base because we didn't really know what we were doing up the middle yet, and then we had some changes that needed to be made, and she jumped over to second base, and she struggled for a little bit, but she never gave up. She kept asking questions. She kept wanting to learn. She's still got a ways to go, but she's come a long, long way. She's playing phenomenal, and she's been swinging the bat well. We've been working on her hitting, trying to get her extended through the ball a little bit more, and she's finally starting to see more barrels. She got her first home run this past week. She got another double yesterday that was deep in the gap, so she's finally starting to see some really good at-bats, and she's doing a great job in the middle of the lineup for us.
That's everything that I saw in the home run check. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
When you turned it around and started hitting, you scored the 4 runs late on there too. What changed right then? Was it just something that said, "Hey, look, let's go"?
Like at my at bat?
Well, your at bat, your team, and the offense being able to go, and because the offensive side of it is contagious, and we've always seen when one person starts hitting, everybody starts hitting on there, and it happened. It just was it was a little bit too late, but it carried over the next game. What changed?
I think it's like when we start hitting, it's if one person does bad, then everybody else is going to do bad. So once we start hitting that ball and seeing the barrels, it's like a domino effect. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
It's like you said, contagious. Once we start hitting the ball, it doesn't stop. And we were late on getting started, but it did carry over to the next game.
What do you do to keep that momentum going throughout? Not just tomorrow, but of course you've got a big rest of the schedule too. You've got some movement in the standings you need to do. But what do you do? Is this the moment that everything changes and you just get back to dominating like you do?
Yeah, I think it is. I think we need to keep we need to keep hitting how we're hitting in practice. We need to keep hitting how we're hitting in games. And we just got to do what we got to do.
Coach, when you hear that, when you see what they did in the middle of the game, you know, and we've known all year long that is inside this team. It's just getting it out onto the field.
It really is, and like I said, we had a good meeting. That's what we'll call it, I guess.
A meeting.
A good meeting after that first game, before we went out in that second game, and they really responded to the challenges that I gave them. But it's like we talked about. It's not a light switch that you can just turn on at any point and say, "Ooh, you know what? We're behind. Let's go win this ball game."
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't happen. Like you said, we turned it on late yesterday, but you know what? They staved off the comeback. They scored 2 in the 7th and kind of put the game out of reach for us, and it happens at times. But I think they're finally starting to understand that this is what's going to happen down the stretch.
I think so. How is your adjustment and your comfort level, I guess, now at second base? Because we've talked a couple of times during the year, and you were still learning a little bit more. You seemed at ease out there yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really enjoying it. I think learning new things in the sport that I love is just so much fun, and do anything for my team, and they needed me there, so that's where I have to be.
Look, I love it. I don't think there's – no, it was the outfield. You said you didn't want to go and play.
No,
right
okay, I'll
from
never
there.
play the outfield. I'm sorry.
After her communication skills out there, definitely not.
That's
she will not get that opportunity.
that's what we saw. That's right. Give me a good memory this year. I saw, of course, the bus ride back from Bunkie. I know y'all had a good time on that too. But let's have something maybe that you're taking out of the first half of the season. You know what? That was really cool.
Like a fun memory, like it doesn't even have to be in a game.
It doesn't have to be in a game. No, this is just about your school year, about the way this is going.
Our new locker room, just being able to start fresh, like something. We had our old locker room. It wasn't the best,
Right.
But I mean, now we have this new beautiful locker room that we all just hang out in after school. If we're having a short practice, even if we finish early, we're just going to sit in there and hang with each other.
If you have a class you don't want to go to, you just go that.
No, we will never do that, Mr. Gatlin and Miss Laura.
That's
We
right.
never do that.
Look, we never do that. Look right there. Absolutely. And that's good. That's one of those things. What's something this season, this year, this school year that says, dadgummit, no, that's not going to happen again?
Hold on, I'm feeling like Kinsey and Annabelle. I have to think. Oakdale.
That's not going to happen again.
Ever.
Look, and I love that. And you've got to have something. There's one thing. There's your one thing that you've got to find that fuels you to go out and say, you know what, we're not going to let this one thing happen. And when that doesn't, everything else puts itself in. And so if that's your one thing, let it be your one thing. I love it. There you go. Big night tomorrow night. Sterlington comes to town. That is a 5:30.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. That's a 5 o'clock. You heard it here first. Thank goodness. I'd have been there late. You heard it here first. It is 5 o'clock. JV to follow.
JV after the game, yeah. So we'll play varsity at 5 o'clock, and we'll play a JV game afterwards.
There you have it. That's going to put a wrap on the softball side of it. We'll let the boys of summer make their way in here momentarily. But a big shout out to, of course, head coach Brad Turney, Kenzie Lyles, Bell Drago, Addie Addie Wright. Sorry. Look, I'm thinking
New
first
last
base and
name.
moving. See, but look, I got through everybody, and that was boy. I think the sun baked my head as much as it did everything else yesterday, too. But that'll wrap it up. We'll make our way for baseball. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow night. We will go on the air at 446, with that being a 5 o'clock start. You see, yeah, that's
what you did there.
that's how we do it there. For Sterlington and for Holy Savior Menard, that's coming up live on 446. But make sure you get out to the stadium and watch things that are going on. We'll see you back for baseball in just a minute.
And welcome back to Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks. Now joined by Coach Jordan Marks, Coach Julio Ortiz, and Danny Clear. My name is Nick McNano. So, guys, 2 weeks ago we were sitting right here and talking about the district play opening up and how it was going to be second season, as you called this the regular season, right, Coach Jordan?
That's right.
You did spring training preseason, then the regular season, and week one got off to 2 wins and the loss there. You had a Vols and Oakdale, beat both of them, and then go to Buckeye and unfortunately lose on that Friday night. But let's go back to the start of district with the 2 first district games. Talk through those with us.
Well, first of all, baseball is crazy because yesterday Oakdale beat Buckeye 5-0.
Wow.
So and Oakdale came to us, and we knew they were going to be a really good team and coached well, and we ended up getting away with a win on what was that, Tuesday night, 2 Tuesdays ago.
Yep.
And it was a scrappy ball game. It was tough fought, as I thought, and lucky for our guys, we came out on top. We put a little pressure on them and made some things happen and came out with the W.
And then you go right there to a Vols, and, man, you end up beating the Vols. Now you're 2-0 in district and got a little momentum going.
We do. And it's something we've kind of said all year. At a 2A school with the numbers that we have, it's hard to play 3, 4, 5 games a week. We battled with it for the first 3 weeks, and had multiple games, throughout that week. Let's say multiple. Let's talk 3, 4 games, and with a pitching staff that's limited and still trying to find guys to help us out. Our best is first 2 games, and that's what we did in district. And so we threw all our guys in district, and we went to Buckeye, and thought we were going to have a chance. Of course, we made a few early mistakes, and they capitalized, and that's the game of baseball. So. We were sitting 2-0 in district that week, and I thought we had a really good chance of going to Buckeye and beating them, but somebody had other plans. So,
well, Julio, let's talk about that, because before we get into this past week, but I mean, really, this middle part of the season, the pitchers have thrown well enough to really win. Now, once again, the Buckeye game kind of got away from you guys, but up to that, I mean, these other games in the middle, the pitchers have given you a chance to win.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've asked them to, game in and game out, just give us an opportunity. And they have, like Coach said, baseball is a weird game. You go out there and look like an all-star one game, and then all of a sudden the game will humble you, and you've never played before. So it's one of those things that just as long as they keep us in games, give us an opportunity to be able to come back and win.
We'll talk about the Oakdale game. Peyton went 5 innings, gave up 2 hits, 3 runs, only 2 of those earned. Though, what makes Peyton effective on the hill?
And it's funny you say that, because that game it was probably his worst start that he's had. He struggled. He kind of labored through 5 innings. He got in some problems. He found a way to get out. But he mixes his pitches real well, and that's why I think he's so effective. And that's all we can ask him to do. Hey, just mix your pitches up, make pitches when you need to, let your defense work. And, thankfully we got an opportunity to kind of get back in that game and pick up a win.
And then we go to the Vols game. Gus pitched 6 complete innings in that one, only give up 4 hits, no runs, no earned runs. And just as I thought, besides Gus that game, I thought Baylor coming in that last inning and throwing strikes and getting that out of that inning. I thought that those 2 guys pitched well.
Oh, they did. Obviously we know with Sipowicz throwing, we're going to get what we're going to get from him. He's going to throw strikes. He's going to be effective. We're going to have to play defense behind him, obviously. But he did such a great job. And then, being able to bring Baylor in off of him. And Baylor was a kid that at the beginning of the season wasn't on our roster, but eventually ended up joining the team, and I'm glad he did, because he's definitely effective and he's helped us out.
Yeah, and that's just, to see him like he's still playing into game shape or playing and to see him progress from that first pitch that he threw in the first game to the next outing. It's got to be exciting for you guys to have an arm on that back end that can help you. And then obviously, like you talked about against the Buckeye game, you'll kind of run out a little bit of steam in that one, but we'll go into the next week.
Yeah, you come in and Tuesday night against Kinder, and very competitive game. Once again, pitching kind of held you in it. But towards the end, they kind of got a couple of insurance runs. Kinder did. Good ball club. The thing I was impressed about them, they just made the plays that the defensive plays. You guys really started hitting the ball. You really started hitting the ball really well, and a couple of them were right at people, but others, I mean, they made good defensive plays. So talk about the Kinder matchup, and I know that was a big matchup from last year for us.
So it's a big matchup, especially coming off of last year. Especially Drew Scully's over there. He was here. He's a graduate of Menard. Played for us in the 2020 year, and the guys know him. He knows all the guys, and he's their pitching coach. So he did a really good job of mixing up pitches and throwing, calling pitches to keep our hitters off balance. However, I thought we barreled a lot of baseballs that night. I think they were right at people, and of course that's the crazy game of baseball. It's kind of like this past Friday night. But going back to Kinder, they're going to do all the little things right. They're going to apply pressure, kind of like I look at us as a similar ball club, and I don't know what this new district alignment, how we play everybody once, which really it means something, but it doesn't. It just kind of seeds you for the district tournament, and so our guys are hungry, and not this coming week, but the next week for the district tournament to hopefully see those guys again. But the little lefty they had on the mound threw well enough for them to do what they needed to do to beat us, and our guys have learned from it, and we've went over a lot of things since that loss, and I think we've started improving the last couple outings as an offensive unit. Going back to the pitchers, Coach Julio does a wonderful job with our pitchers, and I feel like every ball game that we've been in is because of our pitchers that our hitters kind of let our pitchers down, and so we kind of switched gears recently and starting holding some hitters a little more accountable and going over ways on how the team that we have, how can we be successful and how to get the most out of our lineup 1 through 9. So I think we've gone strides. I don't think it's too late in the season for us to hit the panic button or anything, and we just improve day by day, game by game, and see what happens at the end. Hopefully we get hot come playoff time.
Well, then right from Tuesday night, you turn around and play Wednesday night against Rapides. And yes, they did have some walks and everything, but you put a lot of pressure on them, and y'all barreled the ball up a lot.
Sure,
so.
I think we hit 3 times in the lineup in the first inning,
Yeah.
and collected 9 hits throughout that. And like you said, there was some walks mixed in and an error or two, but for the most part, we did barrel some baseballs that game. So that was good to see. The guys got a lot of confidence after that game, which in a ball game like that, that's what those are. Those are confidence games, and. Going, not switching gears, but going to Glenmore on Friday night. I know that was the next topic. So we're 3-1 in district, going into Glenmore, put some offensive stuff together, and Friday night was another one of those games. We hit the ball on the line. We hit 3 or 4 line drives right at them, where they're 6 feet right or left, and it's a double in the gap. And we had 3 extra base hits that night. And just lost a tough ball game. We lost 2-1. It wasn't nothing that we did, as a team or any mistakes. We just got beat that night. They were the better team. But I thought our guys were, like I said, we're learning from our mistakes and continuing to get better offensively, and that's what we need right now. So.
And Coach Julio, JD, talking or texting with a couple of people. JD went the distance on Friday night. And like I said, 2-1 ball game. They're a good, like you said, they're a good ball club. They're gonna probably advance pretty far in their division, or their classification. So, and last year it was a tough ball game at the Eagles Nest.
We ended up walking it off.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. So yeah.
I don't know. Skip over and go back to real quick. Is the Rapides game, and again, a little overmatched with Rapides, but. You had pitchers that faced 9 batters. It was a shortened game. Yeah. You had a combined no-hitter, 3-inning no-hitter. But you had Baylor with, Gus had 1 walk, but he erased that on double play, and you faced the minimum through 3. That was a another quality outing from Baylor and Gus.
Oh, no doubt. And, that first inning came out, got the first out quick. I think, walking the second hitter. And then ended up getting a 6-4-3 double play, which, obviously that builds momentum going into the bottom half of the inning. And anytime you can get your leadoff on or your second guy on, obviously that makes offense go. And then, we all know that hitting is contagious. It's one of those things in baseball that, once a few guys barrel a few balls up, then all of a sudden, everybody starts barreling it up. So, we were fortunate to get that victory and, try to carry that momentum to Friday. And unfortunately, we just
came out on the wrong end.
That's
of that
right.
deal.
And that happens sometimes.
What's their facility like and everything down in Glenmore?
It's a turf facility.
Okay.
And it's kind of a tough field. It's a lot of home field advantage. I will say that, even though it's turf, it's definitely a home field advantage.
Gotcha.
And I'll just leave it at that. But if you play there,
I gotcha.
And even their coaches and players are, I think sometimes we should have wear face masks to field ground balls. But it is, a big home field advantage for Glenmore to play that game there. But, they're coming into our district next year, so it's probably going to be a place where we play every year, every other year, whatever the case may be. And, it's just something that we got to battle through. So
I did not know that they were going to be in our district next year. So, okay.
Yep.
That's news here. So.
We lose Kinder and we pick up Glenmore in a Vols charter. So there'll be 7-team district next year.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that will be, but we'll talk about that at the end of the season. But that's good information to know. But
that's right.
So, Coach, I mean, it's been 2 games, step up twice, down once, step up once, down twice. So
no, there'd be some highs and lows throughout the year, but however, our locker room is a close locker room.
That's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask.
I mean, look, our guys know, that they take accountability, and they buy into things that coaching staff comes up with to fix what's going on, and it's a full effort. And it's kind of all hands on deck. But, no, our locker room's close. We don't listen to the outside noise. If there is outside noise, we don't know about it. This group is a close group. They play for each other. They go to war with each other each and every day at practice games, whatever it may be. They're all friends outside of, playing baseball and look after one another. And we got a good thing going. So I'm not the slightest bit worried about it. I know we've, been up and down, but sooner or later we're going to catch a roll and ride off into the sunset with it.
So Doug had the girls up here, and he was asking them. Of course, I'm going to ask you guys when you played what you had, but he was asking the girls did they have any superstitions, and one of them had just like, what's that? Like we don't. So Jordan, when you played, did you have any superstitions?
Oh yeah, baseball is a superstitious sport, and everybody's got their do's and don'ts and whatnot. But there's a thing in our dugout, and I don't know if you've seen it on camera. 446. I don't even know the name of the deal. My kids do, but I don't.
The planter peanut.
Yeah, whatever it is. Some people say it looks like a corn dog. Some people say it looks like a peanut. I'm not sure what it is. It's one of these games that these kids play, and obviously my kids play it too because they know who it is. But they've been bringing him, and after the Buckeye game, he got a hard lesson on and I think they went out and got a new one. So, but it's the same character and this and that, and so these guys do something. Last year we had the snake. This year we have this character.
Do we need some sage grass like Major League?
Yeah.
On the bats.
Yeah, that's right.
Julio, what was your superstition?
Besides not washing my socks sometimes.
Seems like I've heard that.
I try to wear the same stuff every day. I guess it's just maybe the competitor in me. Because if it worked today, guess what? I'm going to do it again tomorrow.
I will say we got some new PP tops, and I've had the same one, but I got Coach Julio and Coach Mason matching ones, and they look at me about 3 games in and said, Coach, we're 0-3 on these things. I'm fixing to go back to. I say, hey, look, whatever works. You don't have to wear that. Go wear whatever you want to wear. It doesn't matter if we're out there in pink sweatshirts. Whatever it takes to win a ball game.
That's right. That's right.
Jordan, I'm going to tell you this right now. Julio brought it up. His locker was not far from mine during football season. We were 9-1, so we didn't lose a lot. And those socks would stand up in the corners of his locker room.
They were stars.
Yeah, for the record. But I appreciate you guys for this first segment. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, you said we'll have.
Let's do Scroggs and Procell.
You have two players here, Peyton Procell and Reeves Scroggs, and appreciate you, Coach Julio, for joining, and Coach Jordan will join us on the third segment. So you're watching Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks on 446 Sports. And welcome back here to Brocatos. We're for Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks. We're now joined by Peyton Procell in an Ole Miss shirt. Yes, that is an Ole Miss shirt. And Reeves Scroggs in the Tulane shirt, which we'll take the Tulane shirt for sure. Welcome to the show, guys. How we doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. So I know Danny's the one who usually does the stats and everything and comes up with some good questions as well. But I'm just gonna just very, very easy. I'm just gonna see what kind of vehicles we want. Reeves, you get your mom or dad says, hey, you get whatever vehicle you want. What you want?
I'd probably say like a Bronco.
Okay, the Bronco 2 or the full-size Bronco?
The full size.
Okay. What about you?
Honestly, a Tesla Cybertruck.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, man, we are getting they don't record us, Danny. So they weren't recording. So we got some. I wonder if there's some information. Or is there going to be some something that's going to make a TikTok or something here? Hopefully not. But so guys, I know the season has been kind of up and down for us, especially in the wins and loss category, columns. But Coach Jordan, Coach Julia were just on, said that the mindset in the locker room, is good, and that you guys, that the best baseball is ahead of y'all. Reeves, how would you kind of talk about the season so far, up to this point?
I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of up and down so far. I mean, I don't think we've been having the worst games, We haven't been getting on ourselves that bad. But I think if we just, keep competing, keep playing hard, it'll keep falling for us.
What about you, Peyton?
Honestly, I don't think we've been playing just that bad. I just think we need to learn how to play good when the game's close and the most pressure's on you. You got to find a way to win.
2 out hits. I mean, I think we've talked about hitting. Some of you guys have been barreling some balls up, but right at people and stuff. So I think it's the competitive at bats and finding a way to get the runs across when they're on. So, but Peyton, you play some right field, you pitch, and you play some third base. Where would you rather be?
Probably third base.
Third base.
Yes,
you like the hot corner?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Reeves, you shortstop. You get to tell Nick, of course, that was 100 years ago, but I was former shortstop, and we talk about the toughest play. What do you think as a shortstop, the toughest play? Going right, going left?
I think the backhand in the hole, because, I mean, you got to go back to get it, and then you got to get it out quick, plus throw it on a line, all that, just to get it there in time.
I like the play. It made the highlight the other day, going to your left and taking the slide. I told Nick that's a tough play just because if you make the slide and catch the ball and make the throw, or if you're stay on your feet, throwing across your body, having to square your shoulders up, throw across the body, I thought it was one of the toughest throws in baseball.
Yes, sir.
What about, let's talk about some other stuff. What about favorite baseball movie?
Ooh, probably Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year? Okay. I think that's for Reeves.
I have to go Sandlot.
Sandlot. Okay. And I was thinking about this earlier, Nick. My favorite quote from a movie probably could come from than my favorite baseball movie. Do you have a favorite quote from a baseball movie?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think I have
No,
one
okay.
either.
Well, things that come to mind is "You're Killing Me, Smalls." That's one of my favorites, but that is my favorite baseball movie. But I was thinking about League of Their Own whenever he tells them, "Crying? Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball."
Yeah.
Or one of them's hit the bull.
Yeah,
Because one of those sayings is hit the bull. Now look, Coach Danny and I have been kind of debating, and look, Cade's done a great job at first, and I know him. Is it considered a dig if it's on turf? If there's no dirt to dig it out of, is it considered a dig? I mean, y'all are both infielders that throw short to him. What do y'all call it?
I mean, yeah, I'd still give him props on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm not saying it's easier. I'm not saying it's easier, but that's one of the things. I mean, we're all new to the two of us are new to this turf. Now, with that said, do you play different? Do either one of y'all play different on the infield when you're on the turf infield? And I'm not talking about receiving the ball, but when you throw the ball, will you specifically put it in the turf when you're on a turf field compared to if it's a natural surface?
Yeah, it definitely depends what spot I'm in.
Okay.
I haven't really got much backhand this year, but if I was to get a backhand on turf, I would make sure and hit the turf first.
You'll hop it, okay.
Yeah, same here. I mean, anything else but the backhand, I usually try and get it in the air. I mean, unless it brings me backwards or something. and then I'll try and bounce it one time. But if not, I try and get in the air.
Okay, but if you're playing on a natural surface, you still try to bounce it, Peyton, or no?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No,
on the
I try to
back
get
end.
it to
Okay,
him.
so it is different on that. Okay, I'm just a left fielder that just tried to keep Coach Julio from giving up runs. Whenever I was in left field and he was on the mound. But no, and like I said, the one thing is it's good. It's fun to watch y'all play defense no matter where. Obviously Reeves, you've been playing short for the last 2 years, and then Peyton, wherever you're at on the field, it's fun. The thing that kind of gets me, okay, is whenever you make that big defensive play and then you get back right there into the batter's box, how does that motivate you? Does that help you so you make a big play at short and then you're leadoff batter? Does that, or a big play at third, or a big strikeout, and then man, you're leadoff. Does that give you that extra energy, or are y'all just kind of calm regardless?
I mean, like in the moment, whenever you're like putting your helmet, batting gloves on, you're obviously like excited. But then I think whenever you get in the box, you still need to breathe, slow your breath down, things like that. Because I mean, if you just have all the excitement, it kind of just makes you jitterous in the box, and kind of just need to slow down a little bit. But
what about you? Well, you just seem like you're just chill the whole time.
I am pretty chill the whole time. But if I make a big play and I'm energetic about it, I usually just reset. Like, I don't really think much about it.
I don't know about Coach Danny, but I mean, we were all in motion. Of course, being a soccer goalkeeper and a receiver, in football, I mean, there was those moments, but man, I know I did. We strived on that energy. So,
all right. So what's on the pregame playlist? What will you listen to pregame?
Honestly, I don't listen to anything.
Anything?
No.
Reeves?
Yeah, I usually don't have music on.
Okay. All right. So what about?
Between the two girls from softball and these two, man, we got to do a little more research whenever we bring them up.
What's your walk-up song?
It's the from Star Wars, the Darth Vader theme song.
Okay. Reeves, what's yours?
Mine, I don't really know the name of it, but I know like how it goes. It says like it's kind of like gibberish, but it's like kind of got a kind of vibe that I kind of vibe to.
Okay. All right. So outside of your own, who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite what?
Walk-up song on the team. Who's got the favorite walk-up or best one besides you?
Probably Nico.
Nico?
Nico or James.
Okay. What about who you think?
I would say Nico. I like Nico's.
Nico's. Okay. All right. So we'd asked last year about the dance, and Lane was the best dancer apparently. At least we haven't seen that yet, but maybe one day. So I'd ask earlier in your season if you had a Menard idol, who's the best singer on the team?
Best singer on the team, I'd have to go with Cade.
Cade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, singer? Or
Singer.
Yes. I'm sorry. Singer.
Oh,
Singer, yeah.
singer. I thought you said singer.
No,
my bad. Singer? Shoot. I don't think we have one. We have some bad singers.
Reeves, anybody?
I'd probably say our new freshman, Lennox Pleasure.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, we'll have Lennox and Cade or Lane with a little song and dance.
Lennox can sing. Lane can dance. That'll be good. So, well, guys, let's talk about, like I said, you. Of course, you're a junior, you're a sophomore. So, what's so far up until this point favorite moment on the sports field at Menard, Reeves?
I'd probably say last year whenever I hit a walk-off single against Port Barry.
That was big.
Yes,
What about you, Peyton?
When I hit the walk-off single against Buckeye last year.
Yeah. That was a good game to broadcast. That was a fun game to broadcast. So, well, guys, we definitely appreciate you taking your time on Sunday evening, and look forward to this week. Got to get right back in the saddle there and make a run at this thing because. Well, like Coach Jordan said, yes, the district we're in district now, but really this is just going to seed you for the tournament, and hopefully we can get that first or second seed and have a bind and, take those arms and win this district championship. So Reeves Scruggs, Peyton Procell, whenever we come back, we'll be joined by Coach Jordan for the next 2 weeks. We'll talk about what's happening for the next 2 weeks. You're watching Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks on 446 Sports. And welcome back to Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks here from Brocato's Breakfast, Lunch, and Catering. Want to thank Sam for hosting us, the wonderful food tonight. Homemade chicken strips, fries, mini meat pies, just really good food for us. Also want to thank Ryan Brocato from 3 Potato More. I had my weekly taco salad, which I guess would be a nacho supreme from 3 Potato More. Just add lettuce and sour cream to your loaded cheese nachos, and man, it's a good thing. So appreciate those guys. Great Menard representation from Brocato's, and appreciate the families and appreciate them opening up their doors to us. Coach, this week, Port Barre.
Last district game.
Yep.
We go there on Monday, and then they don't have lights, so it's a 4 o'clock start. So we're going to get out of school a little early tomorrow, and it's not an easy place to play. It's a dirt field, obviously, and it's been – I don't know if I've ever played there. I've been there, but I have not played there. So
Been through, going 190, going to Baton Rouge.
That's it. And actually, both my mom and my dad graduated from Port Barre High School.
Okay.
My grandmother worked at Borks for years and retired. My other grandmother works at King's Truck Stop and retired. So I know a lot about the area. I'll probably stop by and get some sausage bread, jalapeno bread, jalapeno bread. And
From
hopefully
where? From where?
Borks.
Borks
Fresh Market.
Never heard of it.
Yep, it's
Okay.
almost about a quarter mile down the road from the high school on the left-hand side.
So it's on the north side of 190.
I know Robert Tossan. He's probably going to get. If he beats me there, I might not have any because he's going to buy it all and give it away. So we'll make sure the bus leaves early to get it there. So
Well, let's talk about the ramifications of that game too, as well. That's going to be
a big game.
Yeah,
it's a big game. It's a big seeding game for us. If we win, obviously we're going to be the 2 seed. And if we lose, then we, it can get squirrely. We can go 2, 3, 4, or 5 probably. So it is a big game for us, and our guys know that. We're ready for it. We're prepared for it. We have all arms on deck. Probably besides JD, but still, we still had 3 or 4 arms ready to go for that game, and that's going to be a sellout. Go all out, try to win that ball game.
Okay.
Get the number 2 seed in the district tournament.
and we'll talk about where that 2 seed means after we talk about the Iowa game.
Okay, so we got Iowa coming to town on Wednesday, and we did not play them last year, but every other year that I've been there, me and Daniel Hennigan, the head coaches, we're really good friends. He runs a really good program. They won state a couple years ago and lost a good group of guys last year, and so he's kind of dealing with some kind of same stuff we are. Just a new team and trying to learn what can people do good, what people do bad that other people need to do good, and they're going to be well coached. They're going to be well prepared. They're going to play small ball. They're going to bunt and run, hit and run, bunt, drag bunt. All the small things about baseball, and they're going to execute them well. His pitchers are going to be good. They're going to throw strikes and they're going to pound the zone. So, it's an opportunity for us to see some good pitching and
Watch the screen. Look at the little hand that shows up. What's his name?
That's
What's his
Judd.
name?
That's my youngest. That's Judd.
Come on, Judd. Get it. Sit down right there, Judd. Sit down by Coach Danny. You're
come here.
good. You're good.
He's not going.
You don't want to sit by your dad? No? Okay.
Nah, he's not coming up.
But I
there.
will say this. Judd showed us last show. He showed us the ring that y'all won.
Well, look, we just won another one
well,
today.
let's go.
So
Let's
we
go.
went 5-0 on the weekend and won another championship right before we came to the show. So
Speaking of championships, junior high rounded out the season. Old Pierce Tassan with a championship ring in the crowd. He's not listening to me, but you got your ring this week from this past week for junior high championship. So
That's
congratulations to them.
no, junior high did a heck of a job this year. Those guys balled in and played hard and played some tough competition at times and came out on top. They won the whole little league and then won the little championship tournament too. So that's good, because all those guys are obviously going to be in high school either next year or the year after. So, it's good to have a winning mentality come up to high school. So
Jack's dad came up to me at the Perch the next game after the last show, and because we tried to get him on the show with his dad, with his son.
Oh yeah.
He said, I'm not afraid of the TV. He said, I just didn't have any Menard stuff on. I said, okay, we'll take that.
Pete's as good as gold,
yeah.
and he's a Menard guy through and through. So.
But so talk. You were talking about Iowa.
Yep.
Then the week after, we're going to go ahead and cover 3 weeks too, because we won't be here after Easter. But the week after that, then it's this aforementioned district tournament that we were talking about.
That's right.
Kind of reset that for us again for the ones.
So there's 6 teams in district, and that's going to be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday tournament, all hosted at Menard High School. So, or the Nest, and basically 1 and 2 will get a bye to Tuesday. So 3 will play 6, and 4 will play 5 on a doubleheader on Monday at the Holy Savior. And then the winner of those 2 obviously is going to play in the semifinal on Tuesday against 1 and 2. So 1 will.
Does it reseed after that, or
no?
It's okay.
Nope.
So it's
yep. 1 will play the winner of 4 and 5, and 2 will play the winner out of 3 and 6.
All right.
And if we have a tie in district, then it'll go off for runs allowed, runs scored, common opponents, this and that. And then, obviously on Wednesday will be the district tournament, the district championship. And so, it's important to not play 3 days in a row.
Yes.
Because that's not an easy thing to do. And so it's important for us to be locked in on Monday as we go to Port Barry and come out on the better half of that deal.
So, like I said, Port Barry's the last district game. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was one game, not ours, but one game that's been postponed. So they have to get it in this week, obviously, right?
That's correct. That is correct.
Rules
and that's kind of so we play on Monday, which is supposed to be on Tuesday, and then we usually leave Thursday open for any kind of makeups.
Okay, I got you.
So everybody's going to have a district game on Tuesday, and then the makeup games will be later on in the week.
Fortunately, this week the weather looks good enough that we won't have to postpone.
I checked it before we came here. Yep, you're right. And nothing's going to get postponed this week, so everybody's going to be able to do what they need to do to get those games wrapped up and in. So
then the week after the tournament, you have Manny and Anacoco.
Yep, Manny and Anacoco at
Gina,
home. We got Gina later on in that week. Now, Manny game, it's a JV and a varsity at Holy Savior Menard, and we hadn't played Manny in a while. Not since I've been at Menard. And so they're a good quality ball club. I think they have 15 wins already, and that's senior night.
Yes.
And so we'll do the JV game, and we'll stop the JV game about 5:15, do senior night at 5:30, and then proceed with varsity after that. But varsity will probably be a pushback 10-minute start, so it'll probably be a 6:10 start instead of 6 o'clock, just to make sure we, honor those seniors and the parents and everybody before. I don't want to rush things because those 4 guys that we're honoring that night have been a vital part of our program and this year and last year and everything else. So we want to recognize those guys for what they've done and the blood, sweat, tears, and hard work those guys have put in the last 4 years.
And I know you have nothing going on between now and then, but at some point, send us their senior portfolios that y'all are going to read, and we'll read them on air while they're walking out, and we'll get a camera on those guys as well.
Perfect.
4 of them now, or is Baylor?
Oh, Baylor 5.
5
You're
now.
right.
Okay.
There's 5 now.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if he was a senior or not.
Baylor is a senior.
Okay, so it's going to be, and talk about him coming back, like I said, giving you that extra arm, especially because look, this schedule doesn't get any easier.
It doesn't get any easier. And look, Baylor's done a really good job to try to. This is a process, especially if you're a pitcher. I mean, you just can't come in and be game ready. But Baylor has come in and he's a coach. I'll work hard. I'll do whatever I need to do. I don't want anything given to me. I want to earn my spot. If I can't earn it, then hey, I want to be the greatest teammate I can, and I respect that. Because that's a hard attitude to find these days. But he came in and he went straight to work. We threw him in the JV game. Said, hey, let's just see where you're at, and he did wonderful. Threw a couple of bullpens with him, worked on some things, and since then he's had 2 or 3 varsity outings and is going to continue to get more. And hopefully, I think by playoff time he'll definitely be ready and somebody that we can depend on to come in and throw strikes and shut the door down. So, and then we talking about Baylor and then switching gears, we did get James Tishner back this week. Yep. He was cleared. I know we hadn't talked about that, but 4 weeks without him, I mean, he was our 4-hole hitter. Early in the season and last year too. So, without having him for the last 4 weeks, we've kind of seen some up and downs and a few holes in here in our lineup. But hey, look, that just gives anybody else an opportunity to come try to steal the spot. But we gave Tishner his first start Friday night against Glenmore, and he had a really good at bat against. What is it? Who was it?
The pitcher Holloway.
Yeah, no, against.
Against.
Kinder.
No, we're talking about Rapides.
Rapides.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, he got a hit in that game.
He got a hit, but he had a good at bat against Kinder too. He went to a 12-pitch walk.
Yes, he
Remember
did.
that?
Yes,
Yeah, late
yes,
pitch
yes.
hit. And so
He came in for the DH spot.
he
yes.
came in a pinch hit deal, and he went to a 10-12 pitch at bat, and ended up drawing a walk and getting on base for us there late in the game. And so it's going to take a little time for him to get back in the lineup and get comfortable, but it's just one more guy that we can lean on and depend on. So.
Well, man, we're looking forward to it. Like I said, big week this week, especially tomorrow. Let's get that win tomorrow, get that second seed, and go take on Iowa and try to win that game. But once again, thanks to Sam Brocato and Brocato's Breakfast, Lunch, and Catering here on Coliseum Boulevard, Highway 28 West. A lot of people know it as that way. But, Coach, appreciate you. Like always, appreciate Coach Julio joining us, and Reeves and Peyton. And for Danny Clear, and Doug Gann. For Danny Clear, I'm Nick McNano. This has been Around the Diamond with Turney and Marks. And we'll see you guys in about a month from now, hopefully with a district championship.
That's right.
You all have a good evening. May the Lord bless you.